There are moments on live television that nobody fully prepares for, not the presenters, not the producers, and certainly not the viewers watching from home. What unfolded on Good Morning Britain recently was exactly that kind of moment. The kind that makes you set your mug down and actually look at the screen. Ben Shephard has always carried a certain warmth on that sofa. There's a reason audiences have gravitated toward him for years. He has this rare quality of making guests feel genuinely seen rather than simply interviewed. But something about the way he responded to Annie's revelation felt different. Even through a television screen, you could sense it. Annie didn't arrive with drama. She didn't come in telegraphing vulnerability. That's often how the most affecting moments happen on morning television, quietly, almost accidentally, like something slipped through a gap in the professional armor. When she began speaking, many viewers noticed a subtle shift in the studio energy. The kind that happens before anyone acknowledges it out loud. And then Ben's response came. Not with rehearsed sympathy or the polished empathy that broadcast training teaches. Something more unguarded than that. Viewers watching closely described it as the expression of someone genuinely moved. Not a presenter managing a difficult segment, but a human being sitting across from another human being and feeling the weight of what was being shared. That distinction matters enormously. There's a particular television literacy that audiences have developed over decades of morning shows. People can tell, almost instinctively, when emotion is performed versus when it's real. And something about Ben's reaction in that moment suggested the latter. Some people watching felt that his eyes communicated something his words perhaps couldn't fully contain. What makes Annie's story so resonant is the courage it takes to speak something private in such a public space. Morning television carries a strange intimacy. Millions of people watching, yet somehow the sofa environment creates this illusion of closeness, almost like a conversation happening in someone's living room rather than a broadcast studio. When guests choose to be vulnerable in that space, it demands something from the presenters receiving it. Ben met that demand in a way many viewers found deeply moving. There's a possibility that the moment also stirred something personal for him, though of course nothing has been confirmed, and speculation isn't the point. What viewers online interpreted the exchange as was something beyond professional television. An authentic human connection, brief and unscripted, playing out in real time. Social media conversations afterward seemed to reflect exactly that. Audiences weren't simply reacting to the news value of what Annie shared. They were responding to the texture of the moment. The pauses, the expression, the way Ben seemed to genuinely sit with what he was hearing rather than rush toward the next question. It almost seemed as though time briefly softened inside that studio. This is ultimately what Good Morning Britain does at its best. It creates space for real stories to land with real weight. Not every segment manages it. But when the chemistry is right, when a guest trusts the environment enough to share something genuine, and when a presenter receives it without retreating behind professionalism, something television defining can happen. And audiences feel it. They feel it while watching, and they carry it with them afterward. That's why moments like this continue circulating online long after the broadcast ends. Not because of the headline, but because of the humanity underneath it. What did you notice watching that exchange?